Senate Bill 8, House Bill 1515, September 1st, 2021, Governor Greg Abbott's Vigilante Bounty Law. Anyone willing to claim $10,000 or more in statutory damages, whether they have a valid reason to do it or any standing, that wasn't required anymore, in a civil lawsuit against anyone, is acceptable, as long as they make a claim that that person aided or abetted an abortion in any way. The Texas Heartbeat Act. It doesn't require that you show proof, probable cause, or reasoning for it. It's not declaring it a criminal act, even though it's saying it's criminal or something like that in Texas, to be a taxi driver, Uber driver, or Lyft driver that simply delivers you, not even to the front door, but anywhere near an abortion clinic. People are allowed to give tips or file a court case based on just saying, I saw the car near it. Yes, that actually happened. Deciding that a bank giving you a loan for something unrelated and you using part of that money, misusing it, would be the claim to get an abortion. Same thing. And this is based on you claiming to have intimate knowledge of something that's a private piece of information between a doctor or clinician and the patient, claiming there was no heartbeat and it was before the 6-week mark. Yeah. This is a law put in place by Greg Abbott and his friends to outsource harassing and tormenting and following and stalking people. Because that's what you'd have to do to collect the information about someone. Someone at random that had sex a little over a month before they walked into a clinic. You'd have to be monitoring their existence to find out, number one, they are there for that point. Not that they're at the clinic receiving prenatal medical advice on what vitamins to take to make sure their child survives. Yes, the clinics aren't just abortion clinics. That's what they're called. They're called abortionists. They're called abortion clinics. And some of them are primarily for that purpose. But I'm from the state of Oregon, and you can walk into one of these places that's getting picketed by people and ask them what services they provide, and 90% of it is making sure the baby lives a long life and survives, not killing babies. Because the location is supposed to be about a woman having the right to control what happens and not having anybody interfere in it. I got to see one woman getting assaulted by right-to-lifers because you're trying to abort your baby, and they started kicking her in the stomach. Yeah, that happened. And then they were hauled in for endangering the life of an unborn child because she was trying to have a child. She also worked there. She helped people and assisted people having children, not aborting them. They're all abortionists. They almost induced an abortion and then justified it. Yes, these are the people who care about the life of the child. In many of these states that do this, they do not want to help with your children. If you demand that me and my girlfriend have a kid, which is going to be a financial disaster, and won't allow us to give up the child for adoption. That's actually done in some states. They won't let you do that. And, well, if you want to take care of the kid, you adopt it. No. This is about bullying and fucking with people. Now, there are exceptions. There are some states where the entire thing is based on people who desperately want to have children saying, I will adopt your kid, please let it go full term. Or if it's before a certain point and you found out you're pregnant, please donate, and they will carry the baby instead. I don't have a problem with that kind of intention out of people, but they cannot mandate you must do what I tell you. What was wrong with this law? First of all, it's preempted by federal law. If a federal law says you can't do that, you can't make a law like that. And of course, the state of Texas, run by Greg Abbott, hey Abbott, doesn't give a shit. Rebel, Johnny Reb. The U.S. Constitution Supremacy Clause forbids you from being able to make a law that contradicts federal law in the first place. And of course it does. And it's not interpretation. It's a fact. The Texas Multi-District Litigation Panel for the state courts did a stay on all of the trial court cases that were initiated by this stupid law. The law allows anyone to make a claim, false or not. There's no fact or truth requirement. Make it a civil case claiming damages by someone else's behavior. I'm so triggered. And it's based on listen and believe, which is something that conveniently a bunch of people decided wasn't something worth bitching about in this case. But you're biased, and I don't give a shit what you have to say. I don't like the federal government telling me I can't have a steel flare gun. You think I'm going to care about you guys getting mad at me for saying I don't want Texas to have a law that would affect me for doing the following: driving a cab, a Lyft, an Uber, being the bus driver who drives by it, a person working at a company giving out a loan to someone for something unrelated they decide to scrap the purpose of and use the money to get an abortion. I'm suddenly someone who can be sued for $10,000 or more. Next, this law does not have a tit-for-tat rule, which means, what that means is if you lose the case that you filed for $10,000 against me frivolously, well, what's my reward for punishing you? How do we punish you so you don't do this again? Oh, no. It's not like an anti-slap law where you get to punish the person for filing frivolous cases to keep you from being, strategic litigation against participation or interaction or whatever. A frivolous case brought to control other people like a big fucking troll. And yes, it is vigilantism, pure and simple. There was an anonymous tip form online. Vigilantism at its best on the website. Collecting non-public, personally identifiable information, or just personally identifiable information. If I do that through a police line, they have to follow a bunch of rules to make sure I'm doing this for criminal acts. Or if it's a civil case, I have to just bring a civil case. But no, this website decided to say, tell us, an activist group that's completely irrational, that'll kick a pregnant woman in the stomach, ironically, because they claim that she's trying to get an abortion when she's not trying to have one. That happened. That group, that completely irrational, batshit crazy group of people that just fucks with somebody. They don't accomplish anything. They're not going to fix the problem. They just want to have somebody to attack. Trolls. That group of people gets a bunch of information and can go fuck with you because they receive the information. They can use it however they wish. Oh, my next door neighbor? He's a collaborator. Sort of like China. This is the kind of thing Republicans complain about being done because they assume it's going to be done against them. Like a red flag law because you went out and bought a binary trigger for your AR. Oh, I'm gonna squeal on you. You can't do that. It's like on my channel. I get complained about and the complaints are thrown away for me explaining to people that you can use a piece of pipe to make a gun. Or you don't have to follow rules that are a violation of federal law. Local laws can be ignored as long as you do it correctly. That's another video I haven't posted yet, but I might do it later. Then the website gets flooded with fake reports because apparently these people are new to the internet. So let's review. It's against federal law for the law to exist in Texas, or at least to be enforced. The way they try to get around it is bullshitting it into a vigilantism thing that violates the rules concerning websites and website hosting and website domain names, so that meant the website went away. It got flooded with fake reports because lulz. And more importantly, this does not have a rule that says that an abortion or an attempted abortion has to be involved. Yeah, it can be just attempted or presumed, which mean a bunch of people really didn't just use the website and flood it with fake reports. People gave reports on people they don't like their boss, anonymously, so they could create a harassment situation where Texas Right to Life would sue you for something you had nothing to do with, because there's no presumption in the law that you have to show that the person had anything to do with anything associated with abortion. There's a grocery store that was filed against, or was going to be, until they got their head out of their ass. So anyway, the Texas Multi-District Litigation Panel for State Courts put the kibosh on this temporarily. The website disappeared. The vigilantism is still going. People who are Karens all over the state are going around looking for people to pick a fight with because the onus is not on them to provide anything. They don't lose anything financially, and they might get paid $10,000 vigilante money. Everybody's a bounty hunter. And again, federal law forbids this if the law already says it's forbidden. And it does. It's all been stayed. And not only were fake reports used to take the website down, fake reports were given by people who just wanted revenge. This is the same as putting up a hot tip line to have a SWAT team show up at someone's house. No one's going to abuse that and SWAT people. Now let's move on to the news about what Donald Trump really had the effect of. And I told everybody about this before. Many people noticed that in Republican-run states, they're against taxing. Next, a lot of states, financial problems, whatever, actually have a variation in the cost of land. Lots of people bought land where they could. It didn't matter what the politics of the area is as long as you stay out of everybody's face. Most real Republicans, no true Scotsman, don't give a shit if their next-door neighbor votes for Reagan or Carter. They don't care. It's not relevant. You stay out of my shit, I stay out of your shit. Anybody who violates that is asking for shit to be poured all over them and shoved down their throat. So, lots of Republican-run states experienced an influx of people who were trying to avoid high prices, find a place where they'd be left alone, they could get a new start during a bad economy in the state. But the presumption a lot of people made is they'll be conservatives for some reason. Same thing with businesses being started. Oh, business people are always conservatives. Yeah, and most hackers somehow have to be Republican National Committee members. Thanks to the 2020 census, the data showed some Republican-controlled states had populations increased, so they get more House of Representatives seats and more power. However, they also noticed that most of the growth of population happened where there was already infrastructure. If I'm setting up a house, I need water, sewer, and electric hookup. I need to be on grid because it's expensive to hook up to grid if it isn't already established. A lot of the growth happened in urban areas or just outside of them. And there was a major increase of minority populations as is defined in the state. Why that's brought up, I don't know. Americans, no, not people from other countries, not foreigners, just people who are part of a population that are Americans that seem to get put into the same variety as Nazis or something. But minorities in urban areas coincided with the massive growth in these states that got a bunch of seats. So, of course, the Republican-controlled states are trying to gerrymander everything so that they don't get fired. The problem with this is, during the presidency of Donald Trump, there was a shift in suburban white voters in Republican states, not just from an influx of people moving in, but among them that were already there to decide to declare themselves independent or libertarian, but be able to vote any way they want to, and deciding to vote Democrat. This was only discovered a little while ago, which means many of these states just finished redistricting or are in the process of doing so that have old demographics from before they found out that a bunch of people voted against Trump because Trump made them look bad. Real Republicans vote how they want to. Telling a Republican to vote a certain way is a good way to get them to vote against what you're asking them to do. And there was a lot of peer pressure among hardcore Trump supporters against anybody. And they'll lash out at anybody. There's no such thing as a true Republican. You have to be a Republican that votes Trump, which made them defiantly vote Biden. They voted Biden. This has been going on since they found out that Hillary voters happened in Republican states more than they like. And again, you tell a minority because you're assuming, profiling, that they're going to vote Democrat. Don't vote Democrat when they're dyed-in-the-wool Republicans their entire life. They get a little snippy. A lot of them even did videos. Stop harassing me based on my skin color and race because you assume me being in Texas and not being white, I'm going to vote Democrat. These are hardcore Republicans. A bunch of them went libertarian, and some of them voted flat-out Democrat out of spite. And after Donald Trump did his amazing shitfest for 4 fucking years, you're going to be hard-pressed to get any of them to vote for any Republicans in your own state. They don't like having to apologize to their family and friends in other states or just people in general. Yeah, I'm a Texan, but I'm not that kind of Texan. So this is either more votes the GOP must correct for, or even more attempts to prevent people from voting, when you still have to let them get away with voting, which means they'll just get more angry about it and vote more aggressively. Please remember when you see me at a polling place, if you're one of those poll watchers for harassing people, that I don't actually hold back and I sock people as violently hard as I can to do so. This is a no arrest zone. I can't be arrested for defending my right to vote. I'm dead ass telling you this. If you're in line there trying to harass me into not voting, the first thing I'm going to do is break your jaw. I'm just going to sucker punch the shit out of you over and over again. Every one of you. Last time I hit 3 people. You're advocating for blah, blah. No. I'm defending my right to vote because someone was literally blocking my way. Uppercuts work. I kept my teeth, most of them anyway. I'm an American. These fuckers aren't. None of them. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.